The digital nomad experience is a scam. Hi, I'm Cano, CEO of Listo Travel. I've been a digital nomad for 2.5 years now, a little over, and what I thought the experience was going to be was very, very different from what it actually turned out to being. And I want to share that with you because I feel that a lot of what people share on social media and online about being a digital nomad is fluff. You know, they're really trying to make their lifestyle and their experience seem so fantastical and so amazing that sometimes that they kind of skip over the realities of this lifestyle. And I want to kind of bring some of that to light for you. In my opinion, I'm very much attracted and drawn to this lifestyle. I've been doing it now for 2.5 years, and I can't think of doing anything else. But it's my goal to try to bring more to this community and try to help develop it, because right now what I'm seeing, I've spoken to people that have been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years even before we even had the name digital nomad. They were doing it, but of course when they were doing it back then, it was very difficult, very much more complicated than it is nowadays with internet and technology as far as it has become. But so nowadays we have over 50 million people in the world that consider themselves digital nomads. And a digital nomad could be anything, you know. It could be people that are making their money online on social media. It could be an IT engineer like myself. A digital nomad fits many different scenarios. But what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years is that there's a extreme surge in the attraction to being a digital nomad. People want to get away from their house. They want to travel. They want to see more. And with technology, these things are becoming more and more possible, easier, and more affordable. So the affordable part is what I actually want to get at, because digital nomads, they have a lot of needs. You know, they're not just any traveler, they're not just any tourist that they can get by on anything. They have certain needs in order to meet the commitments of their job. They have to have a steady internet and reliable internet access. They need to have a quiet place to work. They need to be able to focus. And because they're not on vacation, they're doing this nonstop for months after months after months. They need a place that is also relaxing, calming, and gives them the time to actually recover and recoup while they're still on the weekends exploring and doing fun stuff. So what I'm seeing right now, and I've been literally researching this community for the last 2.5 years intently. I've been doing everything. I've been buying the package trips. I've been staying at hostels. I've been living with locals. I've been living by myself in Airbnbs. Anything and everything that digital nomads typically do on this type of journey, I've been doing that to try to experience everything that the digital nomad lifestyle has to offer, and so I can understand more of this community. So I've literally been researching this community for the last 2.5 years. And what I'm seeing right now in this early developing community is to be expected. There's a lot of vultures out there. There's a lot of companies out there that have already sprung up and that they're offering services to this new developing community. But in my opinion, they're not community-friendly platforms. A lot of these services are companies that they're vultures, you know. They're coming in and they're trying to make money off of the top 10, 15, 20% of the community. They don't really care about the whole community. They don't care about the people in the middle rung. They don't care about the people that are trying to do budget trips. They want those vacation money style, you know. So the trips I'm seeing out there, Nomad Collective, Remote Year, Outside, all these platforms, they're charging $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month for a 1-month adventure or package. Those are tourist prices, people. Those are tourist prices, people. Digital nomads do not want to spend $4,000 or $5,000 a month to go on an adventure. Now, I did that in Argentina about 1.5 years ago with a group. There was about 10 of us. It was a 3-week trip. We spent $3,600 per person for that trip. It was expensive, and that's absolutely tourism prices. Everyone on the trip had a great time. I still, 1.5 years later, am still talking to people on that trip and having great connection with people on that trip. But everybody that I talked to on that trip said, yeah, it was a wonderful trip. It was a great experience, but it was way too expensive for me to be able to afford doing that on a regular basis. Maybe once a year. So those platforms, those companies, they see the opportunity. They see that this community of digital nomads has a need. that is not fulfilled by the traditional platforms, hostels, Airbnbs, etc., by themselves. So they're coming in and they're trying to like literally poach this community and trying to extract money from the top percentage of the community, and I don't like that. You know, it makes me very uncomfortable. So my passion for this community is that I want to use my skill set, my background. We want to put our energy now into the digital nomad community so we can help grow and develop this community in a meaningful way that actually can help grow the community, not just the richest part of the community, but the entire community, top and bottom. So that's what we're doing. So we have now launched a platform that I'll talk more about on the next video that's dedicated just for digital nomads and solo travelers to help you connect with each other while you travel, save money, make friends, and have a much better experience as a digital nomad. So a little bit more about my background and experience as a digital nomad. So again, I started off about 2.5 years ago, and I began in Miami Beach with my buddy on his sailboat. We sailed from Miami Beach for about 2 weeks to the Bahamas. And unfortunately, I found out that the captain of my ship was a raging alcoholic. One day he tried to force me into a car with him while he was driving, horribly drunk. I refused, and because of that, he threatened to kick me off the boat because I wouldn't listen to my captain. So yeah, that was the very first experience as a digital nomad for me. So I ended up packing up all my supplies, all my gear off the boat in the island, the buried islands in the Bahamas, and I just caught the very next flight to Nassau and took the path on my own to do what I was going to do. I ended up flying to Nassau, rented an Airbnb for a few weeks and hung out there for a couple weeks. Ended up moving to a different spot in Nassau for an entire month and hanging out there. Then after that, I decided that it was my goal to essentially shop for a sailboat at that time. So I was hopping around the islands, popping around different places, shopping for a sailboat. I ended up going to Houston, Texas. I ended up going to Aruba, which is just north of Venezuela. I was there for about 2 months in Aruba. I found a couple boats there I liked. But then, while I was shopping for boats, my friend back in the States that was supposed to be joining me in about 2 or 3 months, she got engaged and decided that she no longer wanted to travel and be a digital nomad also on a sailboat. So at the last minute, I had to change my entire plan. So what I was planning to be sailing on a catamaran for the next handful of years with my friend, all of a sudden, those plans just got shot, you know, and just totally blown up in my face. And I decided that it was no longer reasonable for me to be on a sailboat, on a catamaran by myself. So I decided to just kind of like keep my options open and then just keep traveling around and just kind of like fill it out and decide what I wanted to do next for my move. And that was about 2.5 years ago. And since then, I've just been moving country to country, city to city since then. I visited 20 countries in the last 2.5 years. So I spent a lot of time in Mexico, but then I also went further down south. You know, I went down to Argentina on that trip with Nomad Collective for a month with them, and then a month also on my own, in my own Airbnb. And honestly, me in my own Airbnb was cheaper by far than the Nomad Collective experience, even though, of course, I'm now in my Airbnb by myself and not surrounded with a community, not surrounded with people, don't have that built-in connection that I did have at Nomad Collective, which that was the absolute value of that trip and that community, that offering. So then I did Argentina for a little while, then I came up to Brazil, hung out in Brazil for about 2 months, made really great friends on a plane from Argentina to Brazil. He and I hung out for an entire week there in Brazil. And then later on, he and I hung out again in Morocco, which I'll tell you that in here shortly. So after Brazil, I went back to Mexico, and then I went overseas for a little while. I went over to Germany for my birthday. And then I went to Turkey, Istanbul, and then I went to Portugal. I stayed in Portugal for a couple months. And then while I was in Portugal though, my buddy that I was telling you about that I met on a plane coming into Brazil, he called me up. It was a couple days before Thanksgiving. He says, "Hey man, I'm flying out to Morocco. I hear you're in Portugal. Why don't you fly to meet me in Morocco and we'll hang out for 4 days in the desert?" I'm like, okay, yeah, I have no plans for the next 4 days. So I just left all my luggage in Portugal, hopped on a plane literally the next day, and met up with him in Morocco. And in Morocco, I had a wonderful, wonderful experience with him. So one of the problems of being a digital nomad is the constant need to plan. You're nonstop planning because imagine yourself, when you go on vacation, right? You're at home for months before your vacation, planning all those details of that vacation. And then when you go on that vacation, you're just like running through all of your plans that you had made previously for the most part. What you don't have to do on vacation is actually plan your next vacation. And that's basically the experience of a digital nomad. While we're on our experience, while we're here in this state or this country or this city experiencing things, we still have to plan our next country or our next city or all of our experiences. So much of our journey is taken up by planning and constantly having to coordinate and to arrange your life, and that is very, very exhausting. So my adventure in Morocco with my buddy Julian was actually a turning point in my own personal digital nomad adventure. It showed me firsthand how I was doing so much wrong as a digital nomad. So we went there, we got there, and I had already been a digital nomad for 1.5 years. I had already been exhausted planning, constantly planning my location, my travels, everything, that whenever he offered and said, hey, we're doing this XYZ, I just said, whatever. I'm doing whatever you say. I'm not gonna put any effort whatsoever into planning this. I'm doing whatever you say. And that was amazing. We ended up doing a camel ride for 2 nights into the desert, ATV, 4-wheel driving into the desert. We camped out in tents in the middle of the desert in the Sahara, had dancing around a bonfire, just an amazing, amazing time. But what it showed to me, because I actually got to speak firsthand with actual nomads that have lived in the desert for hundreds of years. And the first thing that really was glaring to me was that these nomads, they're not doing it alone. Everybody is out there coming together, pulling the resources together to make it all happen, to make it all work. And that's what really clicked for me, in that my digital nomad experience was pretty solo. I was an individual. I was just striking out alone, me against the world. But talking to those nomads in the desert, it made me realize that that was a very hard path. It was a very challenging path because I didn't have community. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have that built-in connection, and it made my experience lonely. And I've heard this echoed by many digital nomads around the world that I've talked to and spoken with. So then I decided that I wanted to help other people in their digital nomad journeys. I wanted to make it so that new people that want to become a digital nomad can do it easier, safer, with more community, more support. And also I want to change the experience for current digital nomads, which again, there's over 50 million digital nomads already in the world today. And it's my belief that they're suffering trying to leverage platforms, tools that weren't meant for them, that weren't built for them, that it wasn't created with their unique travel experiences and needs in mind. So that's why me and my friends have stepped up and we're creating Listo Travel, which is a platform specifically designed for digital nomads. So you see, being a digital nomad may not be as glamorous as some of these social media influencers portray. Between the loneliness, the planning exhaustion, the companies looking to extract as much money from you as possible, it's quite amazing that over 50 million people are actually quite successful doing this. But at Listo Travel, we want to change all of that. If you're a digital nomad, or if you're intending on becoming a digital nomad, I'm your new best friend. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel, like this video, and watch for our future videos. We're gonna be showing you firsthand how employees from Listo Travel all around the world are coming together to create this application, to launch this application, and to meet the needs and demands of this new community. You're gonna see firsthand my own journeys, my own adventures as a digital nomad. You can follow along and go on the exciting adventures that I go on, which sometimes get a little crazy, I admit. You're also gonna see firsthand our first customers on our platform and their experience using our platform and the adventures that they go on with us. Some of those I'll actually be leading myself firsthand. You'll be learning tips and tricks that you won't learn anywhere else on any other platforms. I promise you to give you the dirt, the true secrets of these locations that other people are a little bit hesitant to share. So stay tuned. In our next video, we're going to be showing you firsthand a detailed drive through our application, what we already have, what's live out there right now, Listo Travel. You can go out there, see our current adventures, our current trips that we have posted. We're actually right here in Medellin, Colombia right now. I have a penthouse here, and it's listed on our website, and we're running our very first trip here. So we're gonna be showing you over the course of the next few videos, we're gonna be showing you firsthand what a trip on Listo Travel will actually be like, what that experience will be like. So yeah, stay tuned, watch, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks.